so real here tonight. Just feel His presence. Our plague here came about in the early 1970s. My mom and dad were nominal Christians. They took us to a Mennonite church and dropped us off for Sunday school at a Methodist church, and I never knew what Pentecost was all about at all. I had no clue. And one day, my dad was driving down the road. He was a beekeeper, so he was big and strong in those days. And he saw this lady on the side of the road with a flat tire, and being the gentleman that he was, he stopped to help her. Well, one thing was said and said and said over and over again. You have to visit our church. You have to come to church. And she was a fiery redhead. You've got to come to our church. You've got to, you know. We have this and this and this and this. And it ended up being the pastor's wife for Riverdale Assembly of God. And my dad came home and said, there was a crazy redhead that talked to me about church the whole entire time I was changing the tire. And one thing led to another, and they began taking us to the church and dropping us off for Sunday school a couple of years later after he had a major heart attack. And back in the 70s, 73, 74, somewhere like that, you know, a heart surgery was a really serious thing. My mom had her parents and brothers and sisters, they were gardeners and that kind of thing, job work in Palm Springs. So we would travel there every Easter or through the summer or during spring break and visit. And, you know, at that point, we were in the middle of a vacation back there. My dad had a major heart attack. We were stuck in Palm Springs for about a month or two. And the Lord began dealing with my mom and dad at that point, saying, you know, who can we call? We need help. We don't know who to turn to. You know, they're feeling lost. They're feeling that empty spot that sinners will feel. And they called Brother and Sister Spencer, and they dropped everything and just came flying up to Riverside at that point and talked to them about the Lord. They gave their hearts to the Lord. We all gathered around the altar a month or 2 or 3 months later and became Christians. I had never seen anything like those folks in my life. They screamed, they shouted, they hit the ground running. I've never seen it in my life. And it was so exciting to me. And, you know, there's been bumps along the way, and there's been trouble along the way, but God has been there every time. To me, it doesn't matter who you talk to. Stephen died a martyr. And it seems so worthless, but the one man who held the jackets of the men who stoned Stephen was Saul. One person, one life can make such a difference. In our Sunday school class, my wife and I teach these kids, we tell them all the time, and they're mostly kids that have been raised in church. We say, you can talk to somebody. Say something to somebody. It doesn't matter. Say, hey, come to church. You don't have to say a word. Bring them. Let the pastor do the work. It was so amazing to me. Just one person talked to my dad, and this mess comes along. I'm so proud of my kids. I'm so proud of my granddaughter. I'm so proud of my family because I'm nothing. You know, God gives the talent, and if He anoints, it's all worth it. And they're wanting me to sing this. I'm a little bit rusty. I've got cobwebs. I'm not used to singing anymore. I don't really do it that much. We have Jimmy Davis in our church, so you know how that goes. So, anyway, we'll try to get me justified because I encourage you.
I'm thankful for what the Lord is doing in my life and for the time I've had with my family here. I've really enjoyed getting to spend time with my family, quality time with my mom and dad. No distractions, no other family members around, just me and my little family. It's been nice to just reconnect and let them see what God's done in my life. They haven't seen me in my element since I got married, and I think it's kind of changed their view of what my life is like here. They know that I'm in the right place. They can see God's hand in my life. They can see that the Lord uses me, and there's no better place to live. I'll tell you, not geographically, but I'm saying in the spiritual realm, there's no better way to live than this right here. And I've tried the other side, and don't get no better than this. not for you, I'm telling you. This is where it's at. And this is to be the first time I've ever sang with my dad in church. We sang growing up in the car and, you know, the goofy stuff that kids and dads do, but nothing like this, so pray for us.